just pick off so many of those units. So loading into the first match here, we have MarineLorD of the Rus versus TheMista on the Rus as well. So the Duel of Fates is here. There are no excuses here in this battle. They're both playing the same Civ. The playing field is level. And do you think we're going to be seeing any variance in the play, or is it going to be a fast castle race going for those juicy relics?
I think MarineLorD will be very comfortable playing meta. If we see anything going wild, it probably should come from TheMista. But he picked this, right? So he knows what he ran into. I think this feels like meta play, mass scouts into mass horse archers, run for the relics.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the jam. And it looks like both players opening up at the hunting cabins makes sense. Obviously, you want to get control of the battlefield with your scouts and make sure you can grab those deer camps, get the extra bounty. Very important stuff here. And yeah, one of the reasons why, man, Rus are so nice against early pressure too. Like, not having to overextend yourself and go out for gold in the Dark Ages is so nice. Even as you advance into the feudal ages against civilizations like English who like to pressure your gold node, because I mean, if you look at the Rus gold node here, take a look over at MarineLorD. I mean, that gold vein is super exposed out there out in the front, whereas the gold vein for Mista is a little bit more protected up in the north.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we want to go for gold, sometimes we have seen people even in like 30-35 minute games not collecting any gold, and we've seen 7 archer ranges producing horse archers, so absolutely an option, but it's also an option that we are fighting for the deer spot at the right hand side. MarineLorD scaring TheMista away for now.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be aggroing the wolf as well, so Mista going to be trying to grab all the wildlife here. Both players taking a pet wolf home to the base, and it looks like we do get the deny from MarineLorD, so he does get the pick right there and is able to then jump on the scout of Mista and do a little bit of damage. So nice control there by MarineLorD. Looks like he is going to be getting the deer advantage at that camp.
Still full deer spot potentially being taken here at the left-hand side. And look at that, Mista is going for the wolves first. MarineLorD is going there with his scout. Oh, this could be good for our French player.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, when you said French player, it kind of confused me a little bit. It's like, I thought he was Rus. But no, I get what you're saying. But yeah, the wolves are going to be lured back to the base. So if you guys are new to the game, you're playing Rus, it's a really good tactic basically to just tag the wolves and drag them back to your TC. Your TC that will then finish off the wolf very quickly, so you don't have to sit it and fight it, and that will give you the bounty. One thing to take note of though is if you run too far away from the wolf, it will lose aggro and basically stop chasing you. But the wolf is going to be brought back here to the base of MarineLorD, and I would imagine the same thing is going to be happening as we look up in the north. Mista does have a couple pet wolves and sheep following him there.
And you still get the 25 gold bounty even if the TC finishes it.
Yep.
So it feels like MarineLorD is getting 3 deer spots versus 1. But I think Mista could have like 2 or 3 wolf advantages.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the bounty here in just a minute. The current bounty, MarineLorD, is sitting at 230, so very close to that second threshold, which will be giving him 10% villager food harvest rate. And for the Mista, he's at 200. So Mista is a little bit behind as it pertains to the bounties, and it looks like there's not too much bounty left. I mean, he will get the bounty from the sheep here, and obviously the boars are still on the table. And very nice play from MarineLorD. Looking at the engagement here north of the Mista's base, he might be able to pick off that wolf before it's brought back to the TC. We'll have to see. It's getting pretty close, and the scouts of MarineLorD might get it. It's going to be close. Pretty big here, actually. Oh, and he gets it. Ooh, man, that was, yeah, Mista did not get that. That actually went to MarineLorD, which is really substantial because it probably put him up over the bounty needed to hit the 250 threshold. So he has it now, and Mista does not.
Oh no, and sometimes you can go over it by using your sheep. It's 9 sheep, we are 200. That's 245 bounty instead of, and you need 250.
It's a good thing you're a math guy, dude. I wouldn't have been able to do that. Math in my head. It'd be too complicated. But yeah, no, so he's a little bit short of his bounty now.
It's bad. You don't need to do math. It's bad for the Mista.
Yeah, thank you for the translation there. So yes, it's bad for the Mista, and I mean, what are some other options for bounty? Aside from the high trade house, you're going to have to get some boar on the map. So obviously we have 1 boar up in the north and 1 in the south. So Mista, I think, is going to have to make a big play for that, as some MarineLorD finds another wolf up in the northeast, which is going to put his bounty up over 300. Certainly closing in on that 500 mark, or at least threatening it if he can get those boars.
Even with boars, it's not
it's
enough,
short.
So you always will stay on 2 here. The big question is, will Mista get on to tier 2? Something you should absolutely get, but I am looking and I don't really see another wolf, so it has to be via the boars.
Yeah, it's going to be the boars, and I wonder if we'll see a little bit of early play just to try and get that, maybe some early military. But yeah, I think the fast castle is too important because whoever gets castle first in this matchup is just in such a substantial lead, right? With the horse archer presence, getting the faster relics, and you talked about earlier, Roost players not having to mine gold for like 35 minutes, right, in some games. Well, that, I think, mainly is contingent upon them getting relics, right? Because the relics can compensate for the lack of gold, can sustain upgrades, but if you don't get the relics, I think you have to mine a little bit of gold, right?
I think you still get the hunting cabin gold plus the golden gate. Castle Age without mining gold should be absolutely doable for both of them.
Understood, understood. So pro scouts, you can see here, MarineLorD's scouts just kind of waiting very dutifully there onto the sheep. And Mista's going to be doing the same thing. Looking at the timing of this, pro scouts for MarineLorD, for Mista, excuse me, has another 14 seconds or so. And it looks like the timings, yeah, pretty much identical. 6 seconds left. They're going to be getting those camps very quickly and very wisely taking the enemy's positions first before they take their own.
No one really contesting the other one. Quite interesting. Now going home. 5 against 6 scouts. So Mista will get a bit more.
Yeah, it's a very chivalrous game. They're kind of just like, all right, you take these ones, I'll take these. We'll have a nice chill game here and just see who can make more horse archers and win this match. But yep, going to be bringing those back. Nothing terribly crazy. Oh, but look at this, a big lumber switch. Oh yeah, that's actually kind of precarious. MarineLorD had run out of sheep in his base, so he's going to be missing out on food here for a minute before that deer drop off gets back.
Yeah, and I think this will be a massive pull. I think it's 21 on wood now, and I think you will go to like 19 on food now.
That's pretty standard,
okay,
yeah.
make it 17.
Yeah, still pretty big. So obviously this is going to be a pretty consistent food source. Deer obviously gather quite fast, and they do also have 350 food a pop, whereas sheep have 250 and also gather a little bit slower. So now going to the east of his base is MarineLorD to grab these deer and bring them back. And Mista probably going to be going to the deer camp to the southwest, I would imagine. I think he probably scouted that the deer here were taken by MarineLorD. And yeah, both players pretty much very symmetrical play. We have a wooden fortress coming up for Mista, and we have a wooden fortress for MarineLorD as well to get the augmented wood and defensive capabilities. So nothing terribly avant-garde or, innovative here, I would say.
Yeah, but that's simply how Roost plays, right? And it just feels they are so good with that. It's so safe to play this way. And yeah, soon all deer taken. And simply because we had 6 scouts versus 5 scouts, it's like a tiny bit of an advantage for the Mista.
Yeah, very, very little advantage. And I certainly think he's going to need it, considering he's down a little bit, because it might not seem like a big deal, but MarineLorD does have an extra 5% villager food harvest rate, which, does add up, especially when you're looking at the amount of deer that are being farmed here and the villager count. I would imagine Eco is pretty much identical at this point. I mean, 26 for MarineLorD and Mista currently sitting at 27. So Mista has made one more villager. And Castle Age here coming up from MarineLorD as he does pull 9 for the Abbey of the Trinity. Mista pulling 11. So going a little bit harder in the paint here for the Abbey.
Yeah, only a tiny difference in time though. And I think this is the moment for the Mista to finally get tier 2 and get the boar kill. No more tier 2 be gained on this map.
Yeah. The boars. So we got we got the one boar in the north, and the other one's in the south, so nobody's taken the boar yet. How many scouts would you say, it's not something I run into terribly often, but how many scouts would you say it would take to actually take down one of those boars in an efficient manner?
I think with micro, 6 is totally fine. I think with 4, but you have to babysit it, and it really takes a long time. I think 6 is a number where I feel comfortable without losing more than 3.
So the Mista does get the Castle Age a little bit faster. His 1 archer range is completed, and the Abbey of the Trinity does have the first warrior monk coming out. In the middle, we do have a scout rumble, so we got a 6-on-6 or a 6-on-7, it looks like, and Mista is going to be forced back a little bit, but of course, scout serving this is what another thing that makes this build so strong, is the fact that the scout serve is such an efficient meat shield for those horse archers. I mean, they regenerate, they have 110 HP, relatively mobile. It's such a nice synergy between those two units.
Yeah, absolutely. And still so much safe food under your town center, so really easy play there. 2 archer ranges only for the Mista. Was lacking a bit of wood. I think a 3rd archer range should be coming in pretty soon. At least something we see from MarineLorD.
Yep, we got the 3rd archer range coming in from MarineLorD right there. Mista also building his 3rd archery range. Honestly, the builds have looked almost identical. I don't think there's too much variance aside from maybe having like one scout more than the other guy at any given time. The first warrior monk is out and has rode to the south. So the first relic capture is going to be going to the Mista. He'll be bringing that back to the base, and I would imagine based on him getting there a little bit quicker, he'll probably have a 3-2 split with proper control. He should be able to get 3 relics, and I would imagine MarineLorD will get the 2 closer to his base and have 2, but that's just a little bit of a wager there.
Yeah, feels reasonable. 3-2 split. Relic not really dropped off here for the TheMista. And feels like 1-1 already secured. Do both players see all of them? Ooh, I actually think... No, it's all scouted. Okay, my bad.
No worries, man, no worries. So more and more horse archers coming out. So we got droves and droves of horse archers. And also for the TheMista, we do have a second warrior monk coming out, really to just kind of further accentuate the relic advantage. And do we have a second monk coming out for MarineLorD? We do, but it's a little bit behind, I think. Yeah, so I think he's still on the 1 monk, whereas we have 2. But it looks like they might be getting into the little horse archer skirmishes. Horse archer numbers are 5 for TheMista, and MarineLorD actually outnumbering him on horse archers. So he's actually sitting up at 8 right now with his main army, but of course these numbers are going to be fluctuating wildly as we progress here in this game. But what would you say in the mirror match here? So we have scouts and horse archers versus scouts and horse archers. What is the biggest factor, aside from numbers, in those engagements? Is it going to be manually microing your horse archers to snipe their horse archers, not wasting DPS on scouts? Is that the biggest factor?
I think it's camping, not taking bad engagements. And if you feel like, okay, I have more gold income, get that blacksmith upgrade. 20 more HP on all those units could just easily turn the fight into your favor.
So the Boyar's Fortitude is an upgrade at the Blacksmith of the Roost, and it's pretty expensive. If I'm not mistaken, it costs about 500 gold, right? Yeah, so certainly very pricey. Looking at the banked resources, neither player has enough for that upgrade at this point. TheMista is banking slightly more resources, and it looks like he did just have a big expenditure of gold somewhere in his base, or he probably bought some wood, I would imagine, from the Golden Gate. Both players controlling 1 sacred site right now. Perhaps MarineLorD will have an easier time getting that southern sacred site. So I think that TheMista is going to have to take an engagement here and push him off the middle sacred site.
Scout in the middle might lose his life. Indeed, that's correct. And MarineLorD, 1 more sacred site being contested and 1 more relic. Can't be too unhappy with how it's going.
Yeah, honestly, I assumed TheMista would get them considering he had the faster castle age, but in the end, MarineLorD does get 3 relics back to his old Abbey of the Trinity, and it looks like MarineLorD is going to be getting control over the other sacred site. Granted, I think TheMista will have something to say about that as he moves down to the south, so overall, I would say pretty good comeback there from MarineLorD, although I would hesitate to call it a comeback. He was never that far behind, but he does take out the monk, which is an expensive investment. That is 100 gold, and the sacred site will be thwarted here as the northern sacred site is also taken by MarineLorD. So very back and forth. Players contesting these sacred positions, and very cautious play, I have to say.
Yeah, KD can't be really high here so far. 35 units against 31 units here. Slight advantage for MarineLorD. Would be a surprising battle. I think it should be better for MarineLorD.
So MarineLorD does pick the scout. Nice mobility moving backwards there. I mean, every scout counts. And like you said, the military supply is currently 40 for TheMista, and for MarineLorD, he's sitting at 45. So a little bit ahead, both players pumping out resources rather quickly. But MarineLorD still controlling a sacred site. TheMista currently not holding any sacred sites and is also down a relic. So, every minute he can hold these is going to be giving him a gold lead, which you said perfectly is going to be giving him access to the Boyar's Fortitude, to the ranged upgrades. Do we see a blacksmith yet? So blacksmith now coming out for MarineLorD in his base. And TheMista, does he have a blacksmith? He does not. So that actually could be the big factor. If MarineLorD can get those faster upgrades, it's just a numbers game at that point. He's going to be having better damage, more HP. He's going to win those fights.
Also only 170 gold. Now we see the blacksmith, but the timing should certainly be on the side of MarineLorD. Let's see how quickly he can afford it. But certainly, I think forcing a big fight after the upgrade finishes should give him a nice advantage.
Yeah, the classic RTS push. So looking at the Boyar's Fortitude, 200 food and 500 gold, which should be pretty attainable because he could honestly sell any of his resources at the Golden Gate. He does have 1 supply built up right now, so he should be able to get to that pretty quick. MarineLorD currently has 345 gold, so clearly he's banking, and it looks like he is going to be going for that Boyar's Fortitude, which I think is probably the most impactful upgrade here. Oh, looks like we get him a fight. No, I think just teasing a little bit, pulling back, and the calm before the storm continues. And villagers heading to the south, going after the boar, it looks like.
Okay, that makes lots of sense. Another 75 food. Yeah, and another 75 gold. I mean,
yeah,
a bounty obviously not really important. 2,000 food, but that should be spotted by the opponent.
Yeah, he's gonna scout it, but I don't know. Yeah, that's going to be a nice source of food for sure. The boars gather very, very quickly. And the boar up in the north probably needs to be taken by the Mista, because Mista, if we're looking at his bounty, is still, if I'm not mistaken, in the... yeah, he's still sitting at 245. He really should move up north and grab that boar. That would give him an extra 5% for the rest of the game, right? Which is very substantial.
Yeah. So far behind in income. Oh no, he's so far ahead in income. Look at that. What's happening there?
He probably
maybe
just...
because those villagers just walked over, I believe.
Yeah, I think he took a little bit of a hit on his food economy when he moved down there. And yeah, obviously he should recoup that here in a minute. As far as the deer, we have 5 villagers on the main TC. Berry bushes being mined in the north and south for the Mista. Whereas if we look at MarineLorD, he just moved out for the boar camp and is finishing off the berry bushes in his main base. So both players kind of expanding out to their secondary food sources now, having run out of the initial Pro Scouts deer drop-off there.
30 seconds away from MarineLorD finishing Boya's Fortitude. And he probably wants to force an engagement. Still lots and lots of army by him. Has the attack upgrade queued behind this. It's a bit like the calm before the storm.
Absolutely. And looking at the base of Mista, he does also have the Boyar's Fortitude coming. It's going to be probably about 30 seconds behind, give or take, so that's pretty big. Hopefully Mista does, for his sake, has the kind of presence of mind to notice that his horse archers have a little bit less HP before he takes that engagement. Sacred Site in the south being taken by one of the scouts. Surprise players aren't like leaving one thing there. And Mista was able during all this to actually secure 2 Sacred Sites. So he's got the middle and the top, which is quite nice. Wooden Fortress coming up to protect the boar camp should be able to allow those villagers to survive the wrath of the horse archers. And again, just skirmishing here for the sacred sites, and yeah, the battle continues. I think it's going to boil over soon, though, as the horse archer legions amass. Do you think we could see Imperial Age in this game, or is it just going to be horse archers for days in Castle Age?
I wouldn't really know what Imperial Age is giving you. Yeah, obviously lead horse archers
and mounted precision,
some blacksmith upgrades,
yeah.
But the upgrades take so long, and you can't really avoid fighting too easily. I think you won't really find the timing, especially if both players just continue to mass like they do.
Yeah, I think like Imperial at this point would probably be like a win more thing. Like you're already winning the game, so it's like it's not really going to win you the game per se, but it's like yeah, you know, just a win more mechanic as people call it in like trading card games and things like that. But yeah, we got more and more horse archers being pumped out from both sides. Attack upgrades going down. The balanced projectiles for both players. Mista a little bit behind on the upgrades. And looking at income per minute, it has normalized. So your theory about the villager pull, you know, equating to that food disadvantage is certainly true. And are they going to be fighting? Man, this is some of the most conservative play I think I've ever seen. Like neither of these players want to take this fight. And here it comes. The first Royal Rumble maybe. Who's going to commit?
86 against 80 military, slight advantage here for the Mista, but MarineLorD should have the better upgrades.
Yeah, and it looks like MarineLorD also has a better concave of fire. Like, all of his horse archers seem to have a better kind of semicircle. But they're the front line. Maybe the more numerous scouts here of Mista have pushed through. All the warrior monks are now down, so the Saint's Blessing is going to be dissipating here in a second. And look at this, man. It looks like Mista's forces might be able to push back MarineLorD. How does he do it? What witchcraft is this? It looks like he had less units.
Still some army at home, maybe enough scouts at the front. Did turn it around, and now Mista is pushing in. Quite some nice moves here.
Yeah, absolutely. But during all this, up in the north, there was a little bit of harass going on as well. So the horse archers, they only got like 3 or 4 villagers, so it wasn't terribly substantial, but still a nice kind of, you know, consolation prize there. So looking at Mista's eco, he's currently at 55, and MarineLorD after his harass is at 56. So really didn't yield too much forbidden fruit there. So another engagement here, but I think Mista still has the numerical advantage. We got 17 or 16 for MarineLorD, and looking at Mista, he's at 29. Dude, how is he doing this? What sort of dark magic is he using to win these fights? Man, crazy stuff.
75 units at the top might have been enough. One player is fighting with his full force, the other one is with -5. And also, Mista had one more attack upgrade for his horse archers.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty big difference, obviously. Boar's Fortitude and the attack upgrade is very, very substantial. That is big. I mean, in my experience in this mirror match, whoever gets like the first big numerical advantage with the horse archers just kind of controls the map. Still, though, MarineLorD doing a very good job poking and prodding here, denying some food farming, taking out a couple villagers here and there. And MarineLorD still does have 2 sacred sites. Do you think we could see a transition perhaps to some mangonels to try and deal with these horse archer numbers?
If you can control the fight and can dictate, okay, let's fight here, then mangonels are absolutely crazy good. But horse archers with their great mobility, sometimes you just run away and try to find a better angle.
I like the Spring Alden placement on the wooden fortresses as well by that boar gathering. It's able to get a couple picks there and help normalize the numbers. In the middle, Mista trying to take the sacred sites from MarineLorD, not having too much success. I think he should probably pull his horse archers from the southern side of the map and maybe just get sacred domination. You know, he's also banking, let's see how much wood he's currently sitting on. Yeah, Mista's got about 800 wood. Do you think it would be prudent to set up wooden fortresses on each sacred site and get spring emplacements on those? Just to really kind of push the envelope on your opponent?
Something I've never seen before. Would absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool. So, what we kind of theorized earlier, the first Mangonel is indeed out. So, the Mango's going to be here dropping some big bombs. But yeah, horse archers, especially with good micro and using the loose formation, can really efficiently snipe Mangonels. I find that they just die super quick. Horse archers' DPS is just insane at 14 a pop.
Yeah, what's the armor? 8. Okay, that's obviously a big difference then. Yeah. And suddenly you do 14 damage and... Yeah, feels a bit like a weak melee unit against Mangonel then.
Yeah, we got double Mangos coming out, so the second Mango is here, and a third Mangonel is coming out, so yeah, this is going to be MarineLorD's attempted comeback mechanic, because again, I don't know if he'll be able to catch up in terms of horse archer numbers anytime soon. I mean, Mista has a dread legion of horse archers just running across the map, and that's going to definitely be pressuring some of the forward food sources as well.
Okay, Mangonel still hitting hard, and horse archers are going down. Maybe a repair on that Mangonel? No, not going to happen.
Yeah, that's a lot. Mangonels cost what, like 400 wood or something? It's a really big investment. So losing the Mangos right here, even though they're doing a little bit of topical damage, I mean, this is brutal. I don't think you can afford to lose these like this. And he does come back, picks a couple of horse archers, but horse archers are mega expendable. Losing a couple like that doesn't matter at all. So I think a little bit of sloppy play as those Mangonels do go down.
Yeah, I agree, and would have loved to see a repair, but still quite some losses, right? We see the tower there, arrow slits on it, villagers inside. Horse archers not the greatest in withstanding arrow shots.
I think he kind of overstayed his welcome a little bit. I think if Mista had just picked those two Mangoes and instantly ran, he kind of stayed a little bit longer and tried to duel under that tower. Which does, I believe, yeah, it had like 8 villagers garrisoned in it, so the DPS is going to be pretty good, and this could have been an opportunity for MarineLorD to now get back in the game after losing like maybe 8 or 9 horse archers there to that tower.
Yeah, I agree. Overstaying is welcome. Score incredibly even. It's obviously something that I don't value too highly in Age of Empires 4 right now, but I just was like, okay, who's ahead? Let's take a look at the score. I couldn't get information from there.
Yeah, it does seem pretty even overall. I think the overstaying there did get him back a little bit, but both sacred sites are now going to be taken away most likely, although it looks like MarineLorD should be able to secure that sacred site here in the middle. He does have the double Mangonel, and what is Mista's response going to be to the Mangos? Is he going to be getting Spring Alds? And it looks like he does have a Siege Workshop up of his own in the base. Nothing producing yet, but I feel like we could see some Springs coming out, or maybe just Mangos of his own and just trying to kind of play his opponent's game at a mirror here. Who knows? What do you think it'll be, Springs or Mangos?
Depends on if I feel like I want to do damage. If I want to do damage, I probably am going Mangonels and try to go for some aggression myself. If I feel like, okay, it's more likely that my opponent will push and I am going to counterattack, then Sprangles is the go.
Understood. Yeah, still nothing coming out of the Siege Workshop yet. Looking at Mista's base, he's got a pretty healthy farm economy. He's got a ton of farm set up in his base. Also has a very nice farming system in the southwest. And MarineLorD does have some farm set up, but I would say his food economy isn't quite as long-term developed yet. He's got slightly less farms, still hitting the berry bushes and the boar, but Mista does have...
at the wood line.
Oh, let's look at this in the wood line. Yeah, big engagement here. Horse archers moving into the wood line. Gets a couple of vills, but for the most part, those wooden fortresses able to mitigate it. But no, they can't all get in there, and very nice Ras coming in from Mista.
It's like 6 villagers going down against 2 horse archers, unless the retreat is being cut off. Ooh, MarineLorD going for the big play. It feels like Mista should get away, though.
Yeah, it's going to be very close, but I think if he takes the direct kind of angle up the top side of the map, he should be fine. Although he can take an engagement here. I mean, the Mangonels are super slow, right? So he can afford to take this fight here as long as he just falls back afterwards. And in terms of numbers, seems relatively even here. We do now have a Springald coming out from MarineLorD as well. And yeah, you just got to get away before those Mangos get there, and I think he should be fine.
Yeah, tries to micro away, still gets lots of shots in, low HP, horse archers on both sides. Mangonel desperately trying to get a shot off.
Not bad. A little bit of splash damage there on those horse archers in the front, but MarineLorD able to definitely whittle down those numbers, but his horse archer numbers are looking quite low himself, as his Mangos are struggling a little bit to kind of get across the map. And I wonder if Mista is going to kind of forsake the artillery and just kind of keep on this mobile harass. keep that mobile style of play, keep harassing the wood line and the eco lines, and maybe, you know, switch to artillery a little bit later, because we still haven't seen a single piece of equipment come out from Mista. It looks like he's really just staying in on the horse archers and using his wood to sustain those numbers.
Finally, as you say, there are 2 Springles in the queue. So now knows, okay, Mangonauts were already pretty far on the map. So it's likely that I will have to defend. So Springles feels like the right play. Right now, 1v1 when it comes to Sacred Site. And look at that, MarineLorD, the beautiful tower in the center, but didn't decide on an emplacement yet.
Yeah, I would imagine it'll probably be like a Springald emplacement or something. Springald emplacement, so Springalds themselves did get nerfed, obviously, in one of the more recent patches, bringing their damage down from 60 to 30, but Springald emplacements on towers still do the full 60. So they still hit pretty darn hard for sure. Now, does he have a warrior monk with this army? It looks like Mista does not. So he's not going to be able to grab the sacred site in the south, although I would imagine he'll rally one down there relatively soon. Up in the north, we do get MarineLorD taking away the sacred site from Mista. And he does have that middle one. He's had it for quite some time, and that wooden fortress, even without emplacements, will make it much tougher to take, because he can simply put scouts in there or other things like that.
At the end of the game, we have to take a close look at the gold income. I think MarineLorD, like constantly having one more relic, it feels like he has more control over the sacred sites. This might be one of the factors that could win him the game, but obviously a major factor will be how much the siege will pay off for him now.
Yeah, I think the gold advantage is obviously... Oh, and a huge mango shot! Oh, devastation! Look how much damage he took there. He lost like 10 horse archers. Just one miss micro, man, and you can totally go down to that. Springalds for Mista, he's going to be having 3, but again, you know, look at MarineLorD. He's got a couple springs himself, and that damage he just did there could be game-ending potentially.
Mista doesn't know what's happened. Look at that. Spread formation now tries to take another engagement, but Solo tries to dodge those shots, but eats more.
Yeah, this is looking pretty tough. The Megadell's really paying for themselves. All it takes is one slip up. Is the Mista, and his other Springald is sitting back there not shooting, and it looks like both of his Springalds have gone down. He's got his third one there, but MarineLorD is so on point with his artillery micro there, popping all of the artillery of Mista. And it looks like the horse archers of our Greek champion here are going down, and that's going to be a victory for MarineLorD here in game 1. Dude, that went from being like calm and even to suddenly just being over in the span of like 45 seconds.
Holy moly, in the span of 3 seconds,
Yeah.
That was the 4 mangonel hits. They completely shredded the horse archers. It looked so good for Mista in so many ways. At least it was even. But oh boy, those mangonels paid off.
Well, what I was going to say too, because you had a really good point about the gold, but Mista's farming economy, you know, being a farmer in real life as well, was much better. So Mista had a lead of like 4,000 food, and he had a much better farming situation to keep producing those horsemen. But again, the gold advantage allowed MarineLorD to produce the additional artillery. So just like you wanted to see, we had what, 8.1 gold for MarineLorD against 5.3. So you were just hit the nail on the head there with that analysis.